All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the WNR Body Transformation Podcast, and thank you for listening to my podcast / watching my video. Really appreciate it, every one of y'all. But before we just get started, right, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and whatever I mention in this video is solely for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please don't do the things that I suggest to my clients or advise to my clients or do myself. It's solely for educational and entertainment purposes only. Whatever you want to do, please do it at your own risk. And if you want to do it, consult a physician or professional before you take any sort of action. Now that we got the disclaimer out of the way, in today's podcast, I'm going to be covering two topics, right? The first one being is a client's case study, and the second one being is my own health and physique journey. But let's start with the client's case study, James's transformation story, right? Now, this was James's transformation, but before I just get cracking, this was how he looked when he first came to me, right? How he felt. I mean, what was his backstory, his background, right? He is a 50-year-old guy based in the UK, single dad, pretty successful property business owner, right? And this is how he felt. He hated the way he looked and felt. He had self-esteem problems, self-confidence problems, would face a lot of anxiety issues, would rely on anxiety medications, and in order to make himself feel better, he'd vape, drink every week. And vape, binge eat on junk food. Like the things that he binge drink on would be vodka, and it would not be like one or two beers, it would be like heavy beers, right? And he would constantly vape just to make himself feel good on a day-to-day basis. In order to sleep, I think, I might be wrong, he'd also have like CBD, right? CBD oil or CBD gummies or CBD tablets, like the CBD supplement, right? His sleep was shit, basically. He would feel depressed, right? What did he binge on? Indian food. Believe it or not, I'm not really a huge fan of Indian food because I was born and brought up with it. I'm Indian, but Indian food is like orgasmic, trust me. But ever since I've entered bodybuilding, I do miss Indian food. I mean, it's high carb, high fat, filled with flavors. What's there to not like, right? But what was his situation? Like, you know, like he was single, so he would go out on a lot of dates, right? And he would never feel attractive or confident in his own skin, because of which he would constantly think like, okay, I gotta rely on money, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. In reality, he didn't really invest in himself, right? He didn't really invest in the way he looked and felt. But keeping all of that aside, what was his situation around health and fitness? He traveled all around the UK. Well, not all around the UK. He'd go to London for weekly trips, and he'd go to Poland, Krakow, had an all-or-nothing mindset, so he'd do things like low-carb diets, he'd feel miserable on it, and then he'd binge, slip off. So there was this all-or-nothing pattern because of which he could never really get in shape. And when he'd binge, when the nothing mindset would kick in, he would just like get the fuck off, right? So the all-or-nothing mindset never works for anybody, right? And he tried steroids in his 20s, because of which he got like gynecomastia. Gynecomastia, in case if y'all don't really know, is accumulation of body fat / breast tissue around the male nipple area. This usually happens when the estrogen levels go up or the progesterone levels go up. And this usually happens when you abuse steroids. And I'm going to be covering the fact that, yes, I'm taking steroids, but it's something, the risk is always going to be there, but it's something that you need to be like really, really cautious about. But he got gyno too in his 20s. He would like to buy things instead of do things. So he would buy all of the over-optimization testosterone boosting supplements like ashwagandha, tongatali, and shit like that, but should never work if the training, nutrition, diet, sleep, boring basics are not in check. Do they help? Yes, absolutely. But that's like getting a car before you get your driver's license when you don't really know how to drive a car. It's fucking stupid, right? And he was in constant lower back pain because he would be training like he had 4 bodies, right, in his 50s. So he'd do running, boxing, cycling, weight training, and when he weight trained, he'd constantly do bro exercises that would aggravate his injuries, like bench, deadlift, and squats. Nothing wrong with those exercises, but if they aggravate your injuries despite you training proper technique, you need to figure out another alternative way to load up the same muscle joint. without aggravating your injuries. Like, it's so basic, but people constantly get this wrong, right? So what did we exactly do? Well, we addressed the basics. I helped clear out the unnecessary noise. I gave him a calorie control plan with customized macros, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats around the foods that he liked. So I asked him, okay, tell me, what do you like to eat? He told me, I like to eat this, that, I like to have my beers. I'm like, okay, if you want to go out and eat this, then we need to remove some foods from this particular day. For that particular day when you're probably going to be having that curry or that chicken out there. And if you want to add in 2 beers, then that's more or less something like 150 to 200 calories, and replace that with like a bit of a fruit. So I thought him balance around training. Like, we tried and tested around the exercises that kept him pain-free, adjusted the volume. Now, in case if you guys don't really know what is volume is the number of sets that you do for a given muscle group. So he was not able to squat, right? So instead of a squat, I replace it with like a bit of a split squat. It's the same joints basically, but I was like, yo, you got to keep your ego aside and let's probably do like a bit of a split squat, and his legs grew. All right, his legs grew. Simple. It's pretty obvious. In case of bench press, we replace it with like a dumbbell press. Same joints, right? In fact, it was better. His chest grew. So I found exercise that kept him pain-free. And around travel, when he would go to London or when you go to Poland or where we'd go, I'd go like, let me know like a week in advance so that I would scan the surroundings and then go like, okay, either go on an Airbnb where you can prep your own meals, or I gave him like a bit of a supermarket guide, or I told him like, okay, these are the places where you can order in from, where the calories and macros are mentioned. And I also scanned for the gyms and adjusted the training plan. Or sometimes I just told him, don't train for like a week, you're fine, right? And around all of this, I kept him accountable daily, like, how's it going? How can I help you? Educated him, ensured that the boring basic habits were in check. And then once per week, we have like a weekly check-in to ensure like, how's his life changing? How the plan needs to be adapted? Are we moving towards the goal? Are we moving away from the goal? Okay, what needs to be done, right? This is the end result. At the end, the property business went up. He started dating girls, and he started dating the kind of girls that he liked. Basically, he didn't feel lonely. His dating life skyrocketed. In his 50s, he looked like he was in his 30s or 40s, basically. Alcohol addiction reduced. He started drinking in balance. Yeah, there were like a few binges here and there, but it was so much more lesser. It doesn't completely go away. It fades away over time. He maintained his physique, which is never really the case. And he felt like he got his old self back, basically. So, yeah, I mean, that's what happened, right? After you transform your body, not only your physique changes, but so many other good things happen in life. But, yeah. Sorry, before I continue even further now with regards to my own health and fitness journey, I just really want to use the restroom. So, apologies. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. That was a nice little loo. Pee break, whatever you want to call it, but let's probably get cracking on with my own health and fitness physique progress as well. So, as you probably know, the diet cut over like 2 weeks, I don't know, something almost 2 weeks ago. Anywhere between 11 to 14 days, I am taking it a day at a time, not even a day at a time right now, like an hour at a time, because it's a very sensitive period. And in the past, right, I don't want to talk about the past, but you want to learn from your mistakes from the past, right? So that we can be present and make conscious decisions in the present moment, right? Anyways, so in the past, the moment the diet finished, I binged heavily, and that's the worst possible thing that you possibly can do for yourself the moment your fat loss phase finishes, because you are very insulin sensitive. And if you do things right, most of the calories that you do push your food up from slowly and steadily are going to be shuttled inside the muscle cells. But if you do things wrong and if you fuck it up, right, those calories are going to be shuttled inside the fat cells. So don't binge, learn from our mistakes. So right now what I'm doing is I ended up at 49.8 kilos, which is pretty light even for a small guy like me. But you need to realize, like, these are some of the mistakes that I did. And please don't do that, right? Like, in the past, I'd bulk thinking that I was actually putting on muscle, but in reality, I was becoming a fat fuck. You only want to bulk to the point where your abs begin to diminish slightly, and that's when you cut the bulk, right? And you want to take it slow and steady. But I accumulated a lot of body fat, so the thing is, you got to just clean up the body fat before you even go inside like a muscle building phase. You want to have like no fat around your lower back. You want to have like no fat around your midsection. You want to see striations on your legs. That puts you in a really, really good place to actually put on muscle, which is going to be something like 6 to 8% body fat, and you bulk your way up to something like 12% tops. That's it, right? You don't want to be so obsessed in the number, but you want to be obsessed with the way your physique looks. So right now the food's gone up from something like 1300 calories to 1890 calories. I'm keeping the same old food sources. Yes, I incorporated some dates. Dates is one of my favorite fruits. I am practicing the concept of balance, because in the past I would be like very all or nothing. Like right now I'm being balanced, so I incorporate like a 45 to 55 kilo, kcal chocolate per day, because that psychologically helps me stay in check. I've been keeping my meats between chicken, beef kidney, lamb liver, whole eggs, loads of vegetables, same old vegetables that I was eating during the diet. And the carb sources that I've added in is white potatoes, butternut squash, which is pumpkin, fucking amazing. And that basically is it. And I'm just going to be scaling up these food sources because they provide me a lot of fiber, they provide me a lot of fullness, and that psychologically keeps me in check. And casein, right? That's the protein sources. Sorry, I forgot. My supplements: multivitamin, vitamin D3, DHEA, pregnenolone, and what else? Shilajit, ashwagandha. That basically is it. But some days I even skip all of these things. Green tea extract, not because I just got a lot of these free, but I just take like vitamin D3 and multivitamin and omega-3 every day, but the rest, if I feel like taking it, I take it. If I don't feel like taking it, I don't take it, basically. Oh yes, and creatine. Now, for the drug talk, right? Previously I was on 200 milligrams of testosterone N-enanthate. Now my coach has pushed the drugs to something like 300 milligrams of testosterone N-enanthate, split across 6 days per week. So technically I'm injecting 50 milligrams over 6 days per week. 50 multiplied by 6 is something like 300. If I nail things right, and I'm being very process oriented, I'm not being outcome oriented at all right now. I'm being very process oriented. So when I'm cooking, I'm like being really, really present. I'm being very creative inside the kitchen. I am keeping the same old food sources. I'm trying different cooking styles, but I'm not being too creative, right? And what else? I'm maintaining a consistent routine. And that basically is it. How do I feel? On 300 mg of test, yeah, you feel a bit more aggressive, but you're just aware about it. Training performance is slowly and steadily beginning to jump back up, and that basically is it. But this is my physique progress. You can't really say much. It's just been something like almost 2 weeks, but we gotta wait it out for something like at least 6 to 8 weeks. And my coach said like from the 6th week onwards, things are probably gonna get easier. So I'm just taking it a day at a time. The things that I've been doing to psychologically keep myself in check, besides the technical stuff that I mentioned, is reading a lot of spiritual self-help books. The book that I'm reading right now is known as The Power of Now. It's really, really helping me being mindful. But being mindful is the best possible thing that everybody can do for themselves when it comes to, doing anything in life. So if you're prepping your meals, if you're training, just be fucking mindful. So yeah, people, if you found this useful, feel free to like, share, subscribe. And if you are interested in dropping body fat, building muscle, building a confident physique that makes you feel proud about yourself, all you need to do is fill in the application form below, or like click on the link below, and that's going to link you to my WhatsApp, and then we can have a chat and we can take it from there. Have a nice one. Take care.